Phil Mickelson wants you to believe he's just a guy who loves golf. But when a man says,
I don't condone human rights violations at all. I don't think nobody here does.
who exactly is he protecting? Six-time major champion, Hall of Famer, the man who made golf feel classy, charming, almost innocent? And when confronted, this is what he had to say. Yeah, Phil, we heard you, over and over, like you were reading from a cue card held by your accountant. It hurts to see golf's most beloved legends become the PR puppet of a human rights abusing regime. This isn't just about golf, it's about greed. It's about complicity. It's about selling out for a check so big it makes your morals disappear. This is the story of how Phil sold his soul. For power, for profit. This is how Phil Mickelson went from golf icon to Saudi bootlicker. Let's rewind to 2022, the PGA Tour in crisis. To your surprise, a mysterious new tour backed by the Saudi Public Investment Fund appears out of nowhere. And guess who jumps in face first? That's what Phil told journalist Alan Shipnuck. He knew the Saudis were murderers, he knew their human rights record was horrific, and yet he did it anyway. Because Phil loves the game of golf, enough to look the other way while cashing checks written in blood. After all, it was their only chance. Of course, the backlash was instant. He lost sponsors, fans turned against him, even his legacy took a hit. So, he did what all rich men do when caught red-handed, released a statement with all the sincerity of a refund email. He literally said, "I'm sorry you were offended by the things I said that were true." He knew exactly what he was doing. He just didn't care enough. $200 million buys a lot of silence. And it also destroys a lot of legacies. Watching his reputation sinking, Phil found comfort in a new hobby of simping for billionaires. And Elon Musk topped his list. Bro, what does that even mean? Wait, hold on. You're telling me the same guy who downplayed Saudi war crimes is now out here acting like Elon Musk is some kind of freedom-fighting hero? This is Elon Musk, a billionaire who also took Saudi money to finance his Twitter acquisition, reinstated white supremacists, banned journalists, and turned Twitter into a hotbed for far-right conspiracy theories. And Phil is thanking this guy for defending free speech? Or maybe Phil's idea of free speech is whatever keeps his sponsors happy. This is just hypocrisy. While Phil's out here tweeting love letters to Musk, real Americans like 9/11 first responders are begging for basic health care. You see the difference? National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Department of Education, all slashed. But Mickelson needs to appreciate Musk for his invisible efforts for the country. When you've got a guy who built a career off taxpayer-funded golf courses praising the billionaire who's gutting public infrastructure, you're not just tone deaf. You're actively full of it. So, we all know what Phil got in exchange for his soul. 54 golf. A flashy, chaotic, borderline embarrassing attempt to make golf look cool. Livy isn't just another tour. It's a state-sponsored PR machine designed to make you forget about murder, war, and oppression by distracting people with golf balls and EDM. This isn't golf anymore. It's cosplay for the ultra-rich. And Phil's playing the role of court jester. After digesting Saudi money, Phil didn't just stop at playing dirty. He took the PGA to court. In August 2022, Phil Mickelson, along with 10 other golfers, filed an antitrust lawsuit accusing the PGA Tour of being a monopoly for suspending them after they signed on with Live Golf. Yes, the guy who ran into the arms of a human rights abusing regime for a bigger paycheck has now claimed that he is the victim. It's clear from the start. Phil didn't do this to save golf. He did it to blow up the house, rewrite the rules, and cash out like a villain in a heist movie. And when some of the other players backed out of the lawsuit to save face, Phil stayed in. The same guy who said, "I don't even know if I want Liv to succeed," was now suing the league he claimed to love for trying to stop him. This is why I say it wasn't about gold at all. It was about control. And Phil wanted to be king of the chaos. He called it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but in reality, it was a once-in-a-lifetime betrayal. And just when you think this man couldn't get messier, we find out he's gambling. $1 billion. That's how much Mickelson allegedly bet over 3 decades. According to legendary gambler Billy Walters, Mickelson wasn't just betting on football games. He even tried to bet on the 2012 Ryder Cup, an event he was literally playing in. Walters even claims Phil laundered money through a San Diego stockbroker to pay off debts. That triggered a federal investigation. But Phil says he loves this game, right? By now, you may be thinking that Phil's a sellout with a gambling habit, but just wait. It gets worse. Phil's out here dropping full-on culture war, takes like he's auditioning for a segment on Tucker Carlson tonight. After Daniel Penny choked an unarmed homeless man to death on a New York subway, Phil stepped in to praise him. Thank you, Daniel, for serving your country and for protecting the many passengers whose lives were threatened by this violent and deranged individual. He wrote on X, protecting them from what, Phil? Being poor? Neely's death wasn't just tragic, it was a flashpoint about race, mental health, and justice in America. Phil's tweet in favor of this guy was a pathetic move. He aligned himself with a movement that excuses violence as long as the victim doesn't look like them. When did Phil Mickelson become this guy? It hurts watching him turn from PGA golden boy into Musk-worshipping, Saudi-funded bootlicker. There was a time when Phil Mickelson was this guy, the people's champ, the rebellious lefty who went toe-to-toe with Tiger. He was once the kind of golfer kids looked up to. But legacies? They're fragile. And Phil sold his. Phil knew what the Saudis were doing. They execute people over there for being gay. His words, not ours, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he said. And that became the story of Phil Mickelson, a man who saw injustice and asked how much it paid. This isn't just a fall from grace. This is a masterclass in selling your soul. Not once, twice, thrice, multiple times. Phil's no longer a golfer with bad takes. He has become a walking, talking PR machine for power. Forget the green jacket. Phil wants a blue check, a board seat, and a place in the cool billionaire clubhouse. But he should not forget that he is just their caddy. Phil Mickelson wants to have it both ways. The money and the morals, the legacy and the check. But that's not how this works. You can't cozy up to dictators, glorify vigilantes, and praise billionaires gutting social programs, then turn around and say you're just about the love of the game. Phil didn't just sell out, he literally rebranded it. He turned it into a business model. He no longer remained an ideal in the game to look up to. So next time you hear him say, I don't condone human rights violations, just know that might be the biggest lie he's ever told. But what are your thoughts on this whole drama? Let me know in the comments.